Do you have a minute to talk about kind of an idea that I have in my head? And
Sure, yes, yes. Is it okay that we sit down outside or does it need to be very, very private?
yeah, we can go outside.
Okay. Alright, well let me take a note just in case I need to write something. You having a good day?
Yeah.
Alright. How are classes going?
Pretty good.
Good?
Yeah, I finished one of mine already. Got that by term out of the way.
Okay.
Got A in there, so I'm happy. And right
That's
now
awesome.
it's just about getting my other classes and getting A's in there as well. That's my goal.
That's perfect. Good job. Good job. Alright, so is everything okay?
Yeah. There's one thing that's kind of been troubling me, and that was like the way that the police here at WKU has handled a few instances specifically related to hate crimes and racially motivated incidents. And I've attended a couple of forums for the like the police held. One of the fraternities actually here held it, and they invited police out there, the WKUPD, the interment police chief, and a couple of other officers. And when I went there, the forum was great. They were, stressing community policing and talking about, strengthening bonds between students and police, which is great. And so I left the forum, feeling great. These officers are there to help us. Some things were mentioned in there that troubled me, though, was they don't do diversity training. And that's what the police chief said. He said that 3 years he's been there, there's been no type of diversity training whatsoever. And that worried me. But with everything that they talked about as far as like community policing, and then me talking to them after the forum, they were great. They sounded like they were good people. They cared about us. And a couple weeks passed, and then me and my girlfriend were like in front of here at DSU, and we had a cup thrown at us and racial slurs used at us. A car pulled up, and they just yelled, go back to Mexico, and we're sitting there shocked because not something like this shouldn't happen anywhere and at any time. And we immediately called the police, right? And I called them 3 times, and they never came out to us.
How did that make you feel?
Well, I felt like they didn't care. Everything that they had said before was just a lie. So it's just like they had lied to our faces, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And then previous to that, there was incidents where a teacher had notes slipped under her door, basically telling her to go back to Africa, and that WKU would be a better place without her. And the police, launched an investigation and everything. But I talked to the professor, and she told me that she was very disappointed with how the police handled the whole situation. And at first, it seemed like they weren't even going to do an investigation until she went and talked to the vice provost. And the vice provost basically told her not to worry, that he was going to talk to the police, and the police took it a little bit more serious after that. And then there was another incident where these African American girls had a bottle of urine thrown at them.
Really? I didn't hear about that. I heard about the previous two that you just mentioned.
They had a bottle of urine thrown at them, and they called. Well, they didn't talk to the police that day. They talked to their resident advisor, and I talked to Tarek Maddox, which was one of the girls. She talked to me more about the incident and how the police handled it, and she talked about how when they went and when they called the police the following day, they went out to them and they were just kind of like making jokes that were just, they were trying to lighten the mood, but it was like they didn't really care about the situation. Especially when there's like a racially motivated thing like this, you have to take it seriously. You can't be joking around. And they were joking around, and I found that disturbing as well. And then Cheyenne, another girl who had the N-word written on her car, they handled her investigation poorly as well, from what I heard from her. So overall, the police are not doing their job here, and their job is to keep us safe.
Right.
And to make sure that we come here, to study, to teach, to whatever whatever, to basically get where we want to be. We don't come here to be treated like we're not human beings. And I think the police play a vital role in keeping us safe. And if they're not demonstrating that these things are unacceptable, then they're just going to keep happening if nothing happens.
Are you feeling unsafe on campus?
Well, after that, I have felt a bit more cautious than anything. Not completely unsafe, but there's still that feeling that lingers. So it's just a little troubling, and I'm still shaken by it. I mean, I don't like to walk through that area. I always think back at that moment.
So you think that event had definitely affected you?
Yeah, it has. It has affected me, and it's affected me to the point where I want to do something about it. And being in SGA, I figured doing like some type of bill on it would be the best course of action, getting these students to support a police reform here at the WKUPD anyways, and where they would have to do some type of diversity training and hate crime identification training, because they're kind of lacking on how to identify hate crime and how to label such things. Because in my situation, I don't believe they thought it was worth it to come out to us. So it left us feeling like we didn't matter.
Wow, okay. But it sounds like you have a plan. It sounds like you have, definitely this event has affected you, and that, hearing about other events in that same way that it's affecting other students, but you also are thinking about steps to take. So you're saying you write a bill.
Yes.
Have you thought about what to include in that bill? You mentioned that you want the police to get more training. So tell me more about that.
So the bill, what I wanted to focus on is getting the police properly trained and getting them to realize the severity of what a hate crime is and how to define it. So that's what I want the bill to include is diversity training, because there are multiple cultures and different ways of thinking here on campus, especially with all our international students and students who come from different places and have different ways of thinking. And then with the hate crime identification training, that would be able to focus on them being able to label certain crimes and things like that. I know I talked to the ACLU and about the situation, and I've also acquired like the tapes and everything with the voice recordings with the police of that day and how they handled everything. And so I got that in the video footage, and then I showed that to the ACLU, and they directed me to the Kentucky Human Rights Commission. So I talked to them, and basically they were going to be in charge of making sure of holding like WQ accountable, because the police, acting that way, it reflects poorly on WQ as a whole.
Correct.
And we don't, that's not at all what WQ is. We're, a welcoming environment. We're supposed to be a welcoming environment to all these students and all these teachers, and so that's mainly what I want to focus on is basically getting the police to change from the inside. So I think that's the best course of action. Instead of getting people fired or looking to get someone fired, I think it's better to get them to realize, hey, you screwed up. So this is what you have to do so you don't do that again.
Do you know, have you asked if they have some type of diversity training in their training included already, or?
Well, I did ask the police chief at the forum, and he told me that there was no diversity training currently in any other policy. So this would directly, what the bill is going to be geared toward is directly impacting their policy and getting their policy to change to where it includes mandatory diversity training. ever so often. I'm not sure exactly about how often would be good. Obviously not like every single day, but
Right.
something where maybe quarterly or something around those lines.
Maybe yearly.
Yearly, yeah, yearly or something like that. Just as long as it's there, and it's mandatory. It's not something that is optional, because I know a lot of the training for police is optional. And
So you would like to see this being more, mandatory?
yes.
They're required to obtain this training. You think this training will give them the proper knowledge to handle this type of events?
Yeah, definitely. It's especially with some of the police officers coming from smaller places, smaller towns, and not knowing how to deal with an environment like WKU. It will definitely be enlightening to them. So it's not going to be just like being thrown out there and being like, okay, go figure out how to deal with all these different people. It's going to be best to have them trained before you send them out to deal with all these different cultures and ways of thinking.
Oh yeah, I really like your idea. I think the diversity training is something that WKU will benefit not only for police, but for faculty and staff as well. I think that's something that we really need, and I really appreciate you taking that opportunity, to making that move into writing a bill about it. Okay, so do you need any assistance, any resources, anything that I can help you with this?
I think honestly what I would like is getting support from my faculty and staff here at WKU. So having like your name or other people's names on there really does help. Saying like you support this bill,
Okay.
and I can list you as a contact. If you'd allow me to, I can put you there as a contact and put the Center of Citizenship and Social Justice as well on there, so everyone knows that this department is behind it.
Okay. Yeah, let me talk to our director about it. I'm sure that we can do something about that. But let me get her permission, and I will definitely let you know. Like I said, I really think that this is going to be great. A good wake-up call for all the issues that are going on campus. So, writing the bill and moving on with a specific training, adequate training for our police officer will be a great idea. So I will let you know in a few days. But, it's okay. I can email you about this. So okay. Or do you want me to call you?
You can email me. That's fine. Work best.
Yeah, I will talk to her today. So I will have an answer for you today. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.